Hey everybody, it's Heidi with the Sun Therapy Services here for day 3 of the 12 days of Christmas, giving the gift of independence. Today, we are talking about my new favorite cool little tool. This is called the foot funnel, and it is just this simple piece of plastic. It has a string on the back, and what we do with it is put it on the back of our shoe so that we can more easily slide our foot into our shoe. I don't know about you, but I know I slide my foot into my shoes without unlacing my shoes all the time. And the shoes I have right now are actually pretty good, but a lot of times it can squish the back or make it hard to get the shoe in. I've worked with a lot of people who have a really hard time getting their shoes on and using their fingers to get the back of the shoe up. I also have worked with a lot of people following a hip replacement, and if you have the posterior approach, you have all these precautions where you can't bend and twist your legs, so you can't bend over to put your shoes on because you have to keep the angle. So I have spent a lot of time working with people on getting their shoes on with these precautions or with these difficulties in mobility, and I have a really hard time teaching them to use a shoehorn and a long-handled shoehorn, and they're really awesome, but you still need a certain amount of mobility to use a shoehorn. Even the long-handled ones, you need to be able to point your feet the right way and kind of twist the legs, and if you have the precautions, you can't do that. So I have struggled to help people get their shoes on easily. And when I actually found this, I was working with someone who had an AFO. So they had an orthosis, and that was like a hard piece of material that went under their foot and around the ankle and up their leg. And they had a really difficult time getting their shoes on. And he had limited mobility. He couldn't keep the AFO in his shoe. He had to put it on himself first and then put his foot in the shoe. And we had a hard time figuring out how to do it easily. And then we discovered this, and it was like magic. So I'm going to show you how it works. It's really simple, but it's really cool. So here is my shoe, and this little piece of plastic just kind of has this U shape here, and we stick this around the back of the shoe. So this piece of the plastic goes inside the shoe, and this piece around the back goes on the outside of the shoe. So we just kind of stick it on here and squeeze this in here, and there you go. This is how it works on the shoe. Goes around the back, and then we slide our foot in here, and then when we're done, if we have a hard time reaching down to our foot, we can use this rope to pull it off the back. So I'm going to turn my camera down so you can see, and I'm going to demonstrate this just with a couple different types of shoes, just to show that it works for tennis shoes, it works for thinner canvas shoes, all sorts of things. I think it is like the coolest thing ever. So here we go. I'm going to bend this down so you can see the floor, and we just lower the shoe and simply slide the foot in. Voila! My foot is in my shoe. I can use a string to pull this off, and there we go. So that's with my tennis shoe. You can do it with it already pre-laced, so you don't have to worry about that. You can lace it after you put it in. Either way, this helps hold the back of your shoe up so it doesn't crumble when you try to put your foot in. So I'll just show you with this shoe also. It's thinner. Now this one is harder to just slip on because the tongue falls through, but now we don't have to worry about the tongue and the heel. We can just worry about the tongue and let the foot funnel worry about the heel. So you slip it on the same way around the back of the shoe. Bring this down. Now if I could not reach my feet, I could use my reacher to hold the tongue up. Since I can, I'm going to use my finger to hold the tongue up, and there we go. It just slides on the same way. Foot funnel comes off, and my shoe is nicely on my foot. It works with this type of shoe also, all sorts of them, but I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me put all my different shoes on. So anyway, this is called the foot funnel. I found it online. I think it's really awesome. If you know someone who has a hard time either reaching down to their feet, managing the back of their shoes, having the finger strength to control the back of their shoes, get their foot in, someone who maybe has had surgery and has a hard time getting their feet in, this is a great tool to use. Also, so I did this sitting down, but another way, I will do it one more time with the other shoe to show you another way to use this. So with the gentleman I was talking about with the AFO, he didn't have the mobility to kind of move his foot to get it up and in. And so we discovered that it worked better for him standing up. So same thing, you just put the shoe down, and for him he would hold on to the counter in front of him and stand up, because that way, because when you're sitting you really have to kind of point that ankle. And if you couldn't point that ankle, if you're standing, you can kind of point your leg a little bit and bend. So if I can't straighten out my ankle, I can just kind of lean into it and then slide it on that way. And voila, my shoe is on again. So, as I said, I think it's super neat. Maybe I just get really excited about these things because when I struggle to help people with something and then I find something magic like this, I get really excited about it. So it's called a foot funnel. Look it up if you're interested. Tell all your friends. And I will see you tomorrow for day 4. We'll see you then.